Imagine a world where the ocean, just completely fed up with being our personal garbage can, decides to fight back. Now, this isn't your typical climate change story. Oh no. This is a story about a full-blown war between two species for the very soul of the planet. So, let's dive into this wild story of humanity finally having to face the music.
So the story just throws you right into this absolute nightmare scenario. A storm hits a major city, right? But instead of rain, the sky just opens up and unleashes a flood of human garbage. I'm talking plastic, debris, literally everything we've ever dumped into the sea. And right in the middle of all this chaos is a military sergeant, a guy named Barkley, who's in a desperate race against time to save his own daughter from being crushed by a falling anchor. This isn't some freak weather event. This is a message, a declaration of war.
And you know, that declaration, it marks a very strange and frankly terrifying new beginning. As the oceans fight back and throw the entire world into chaos, humanity is about to find out it was never, ever truly alone on this planet.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth did we get here? Well, it all kicked off when some fishermen caught and killed this mysterious sea creature. The ocean's response was, well, it was swift and it was brutal. First, we got the trash storms. Then, the Titanic itself just shows up in New York. Impossible, right? Well, in the middle of all this global panic, Sergeant Barkley gets the call for a top-secret mission to figure out what in the world is going on.
And what he finds out, well, it flips our whole understanding of the planet on its head. These attackers, they aren't aliens from some distant galaxy. They're the Homo Aqua, a native species that has existed in the deep, deep ocean for thousands of years, long before we ever showed up. And after centuries of staying hidden, they have woken up to take their world back.
So this massive revelation, it leads to this incredibly tense and fragile attempt at diplomacy. It turns out humanity's first official contact isn't with beings from the stars, but from the crushing dark depths of our very own oceans. And this is where we meet the Homo Aqua ambassador, a powerful being named Salt. She learns human language almost instantly, but her reasons for being here aren't just about saving the planet, they're deeply personal. She reveals that an oil spill from a human ship poisoned the water and killed her unborn children. So for her, this is not a political negotiation, it's a demand for justice.
But out of all the people on Earth, why does Salt insist on negotiating only with Barkley? Well, it's because when the military was examining the body of that first Homo Aqua that was captured, Barkley was the only person who treated the remains with any dignity or respect. That one single act of compassion made him the only human on the planet she was willing to trust.
So Salt lays down the law, and her terms are absolute, non-negotiable. First, an immediate, total end to all ocean pollution and all sea travel. Second, hard borders. Humans stay on land. The sea, and even the sky above it, is now off limits, period. And finally, the next meeting has to be on their turf, 5 miles deep in the ocean, a depth that no human submarine has ever even survived. Now, despite the impossible odds, humanity actually manages to build a sub and get Barkley down to the meeting point. But this fragile attempt at peace, it's about to be completely shattered by an absolutely unthinkable act of treachery, an act that will lead to nothing but betrayal and hatred.
And it really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? As Barkley and his team are descending into the unknown, you just have to ask yourself, can a species as ancient and powerful as the Homo Aqua ever truly coexist with one as short-sighted and, well, reckless as humanity?
And the answer comes fast, and it is a loud, resounding no. Right in the middle of the peace talks, a human diplomat named Tad, who had hidden a bomb inside a supposed gift, sets it off. The explosion is massive. It kills everyone in the room, the Homo Aqua leaders, the human delegation, everyone. The only person left alive is Barkley, because at the very last second, Salt herself shielded him from the blast.
The fallout is immediate, and it's catastrophic. The people in charge release a fake video, edited to make it look like Salt was the one who set off the bomb. Global opinion instantly turns against the Homo Aqua. Salt is captured by human forces, and Barkley, knowing the truth, risks his own life and career to free her. In that one moment of deception, humanity had officially chosen war.
So with diplomacy literally blown to pieces at the bottom of the ocean, the Homo Aqua have had enough. Their response is no longer a warning. It's a final, absolutely terrifying ultimatum for all of humankind.
A new, much harsher leader from the Homo Aqua steps forward, and the message is simple, chillingly simple.
Humanity has 5 years. 5 years to completely reverse all the damage it has done to the planet, or face total, complete annihilation.
And they're not just going to sit around and wait for humanity to fail. Oh no. They begin actively melting the polar ice caps themselves. The plan? Raise sea levels by 1,600 feet. That's enough to submerge most of the world's landmass and, effectively wipe the slate clean by drowning the entire human race.
So now, humanity is facing certain extinction, which pushes this war into its final, most horrific act. And it's here that one man's personal transformation is going to signal the start of a strange and very new world.
So how does humanity win this unwinnable war? Well, they don't. They cheat, in the worst way imaginable. They develop a biological weapon, a virus that attacks the gills of the Homo Aqua, causing them to literally drown in their own homes. It's genocide. Millions of their bodies wash ashore, and in just a matter of days, 90% of the entire Homo Aqua population is just gone. When Salt next meets with the human leaders, she announces the war is over. Not because they lost, but because the survivors are now completely terrified of humanity's capacity for cruelty. She tells them, "We cannot compete with you because we don't have treachery in our nature." The war doesn't end with a victory. It ends with a chilling admission of fear.
But hold on, there's one last massive twist. Medical tests reveal that Barkley's DNA has been secretly altered, and it's slowly turning him into a Homo Aqua. He's brought to the sea for one final meeting with Salt, and when they kiss, gills actually emerge from his neck. He can breathe underwater now, so he's given a choice: the world he was born into or a new life. He chooses the ocean. He leaves humanity behind forever to live with Salt.
And this whole thing just leaves us with this one really fascinating question, doesn't it? Barkley started this whole story as humanity's best hope, a real symbol of its compassion. But his journey seems to suggest that to truly connect with a world we've nearly destroyed, maybe you have to stop being human altogether. What does it even mean to be human if our very survival seems to require abandoning our own species?